Here is Bocce. Come here, Bocce. If you know, Bocce is 11 years, 8 months old. He's the one who had emergency bloat about 8 months ago, emergency surgery for bloat. He's doing really well. Today, we're talking about treadmill use and my changing views on treadmills. I personally get bored to death when I exercise on a treadmill, 20 minutes, and I'm going crazy. This winter, moving to Maine, I live on an island here. We get a lot of ice. This winter, we just had solid ice for weeks. Super dangerous going outside. And with Bocce, I had a mobility harness on him. And just to go pee outside, I had to literally like almost hold him up while he was peeing because it was so slippery. We started getting creative and I've got some solutions to that, but it was my first time on the island for the winter. And weeks of ice like that. And so it really made me I actually started wishing that I had a treadmill, like for myself. And like I said, I hate running on a treadmill. I like running outside. So that made me think about, for my dogs, and especially when Bocce's out there, tripping and slipping up, having a treadmill where I don't have to go weeks with no exercise for myself and my dog, it totally made me appreciate more being able to exercise a dog on a treadmill. Now, my first choice is always to be outdoors. Like, it was 10 degrees out, Fahrenheit, 17 degrees out. I was out snowshoeing, hiking, taking the dogs with me. But when it's icy, when the ground's not, especially for my older dog, when the ground is not conducive for exercising, that is definitely where I started reconsidering treadmills. So what I wanted to talk to you today is I have a PowerPoint, and let me just make sure I can pull it up here 1 second, because I think I lost it when I refreshed here. I'm going to put, here we go. I've got some slides that I'm going to share with you. Maybe Bocce, he's going to go lay down. He might come back and join us again later. So we're going to be talking about treadmill considerations, fitness for the canine athlete. Like I said, I shared a little bit about my changing views. I have a treadmill now, a canine treadmill, not a human treadmill, but I do have a canine treadmill, and I've been playing around with it. And like I said, I'm going to share my thoughts. I'm going to share what treadmill I'm using. And if you stick around, I also, I have some coupons, discounts, if you're interested in purchasing some dog equipment from a business that's supporting us. So, hey, thank you. Charlie said, Bocce looks wonderful. Thank you so much. He's resting. I'll call him over before we're done. So let me hop on over here with these slides and let me jump right in since we lost a little bit. So a couple things to consider when buying a treadmill. These are just some things for you to think about. Human versus canine. I would always, if I have a choice and a selection, I would always choose for my dog to work him on a treadmill specifically designed for dogs. Number one is just when you think about the design of the treadmill, when you think human treadmills, when you look at the belt, you look at the spacing and the gaps, and there's areas where dogs could potentially have a toe slip through, get something caught. It's not made, a human treadmill is not made to withstand the wear and tear and the fur and the, all kinds of things that can happen whenever you're exercising with a dog on a treadmill. Also, the weight distribution is different with using a dog on a treadmill versus a human on a treadmill. And there are some unique features when you have a treadmill that is made specifically for a dog. Now, one of the main reasons that for my own dogs, why I would choose a canine treadmill is also the length of the treadmill. Most treadmills, human treadmills, if you have a medium size to a large size dog, the belt, the length of the belt is going to be too short. And so what happens is if you're working on a treadmill and the dog doesn't have that full distance there, is your dog is going to shorten its stride. It's going to have a more unnatural stride, shortened stride, and it's going to put stress on the body differently, and you have the potential of having sore muscles, imbalance of muscles. You could get some issues and injuries because of that. So you want to have a really nice, I think I have a separate slide for this, but I will say the length of the recommended length is about 2.5 times the length of your dog. And I have Bachi, he's large for a Malinois. He's about, his competition weight was near 80 pounds, and he's really long. And Knox is more square, but both of my dogs, a human treadmill is going to be too short on them. They're just not going to get enough stride length. So those are some things to consider. The other thing to consider is, I already mentioned this, the length of the belt. So many treadmills I see, most of the time when I see people putting their dogs on a human treadmill, they're just too short. Now, if you have a real little dog, that's different. But like I said, for a medium size to a large dog, extra large dog, a human treadmill, typically the belt, it's not going to be long enough for the dog. So I would say if you're looking at purchasing a canine treadmill and they have different lengths, unless you have little dogs and you forever plan on always having little dogs, I would get the largest size treadmill that you could afford. The more length, the better, definitely. So the other thing you want to think about is program considerations. When you're building your canine fitness program, is the treadmill should be a small fraction of your bigger fitness program. And if you're heavily reliant on the treadmill, you're going to be developing an imbalance in your program. You're going to be developing some strengths, and those strengths, you're going to ultimately have weaknesses in your fitness program. And it's just, even without the treadmill, like if I just do cardio, I'm going to be getting tight muscles. I'm going to be losing flexibility. I'm not going to be maximizing strength training. So you want a balanced program that has flexibility, strength training, cardio, aerobic and anaerobic. And if you're doing a lot of treadmill use and not emphasizing those other areas, you're building weaknesses in your dog. You're building imbalances, and those imbalances are creating weaknesses. Now, the other thing is, let's say that you have strength training, flexibility, body awareness, and the cardio is a piece of that. If you're only doing treadmill use, a lot of treadmill use, think about the movement. It's all like one direction. You may have an incline, but do we have anybody here who does cross-country running? If you've ever done, like I normally run like on roads, dirt, not trails or treadmill. And when I do happen in the blue moon, when I do happen to go run out in the fields or cross-country running, like I feel it in my shins. I feel it in different areas of my lower leg. And so it's the same with the dog. If you're running on a treadmill and you're always running that one direction, that same movement, you are not working the stabilizing muscles in ways that you would be working if the dog was out in dirt, in grass, in hills, and terrain that's not completely flat. So you're going to be working more muscles, and you're going to be working the muscles differently if you're off the treadmill. So even if you have a really balanced program and the cardio is just a small piece of your bigger program, if the majority of that cardio is on the treadmill, like I said, you're not maximizing the true power of doing other types of fitness out on land, on ground, right? So those are some things to think about. The other thing for program considerations, the same things apply whenever you're building your programs. You want to build gradually. You don't want to have your dog and, all of a sudden just throw it on a treadmill and, go for 3 miles. You want to build up that fitness level. A really nice model is look at human fitness programs like Couch to 5K. Or if you look at running programs for humans, for like beginners who are just starting to increase their mileage, I think is a nice way to kind of look at how they're building a fitness program. You don't just go overnight to running miles, right? You start gradually, you add walk breaks and build up slowly with rest and recovery days. Those are important. There's a question here. Can varying the incline diversify the muscle? Yes, definitely. When you're changing the incline, it's going to be changing the muscles. So for example, if the dog is going uphill, think about gravity, the forces of gravity. You've got more stress on the hindquarters, so you're going to be working the hindquarters more, right? Strength-wise, going up a hill. And then if you're going down the hill, right, you're going to be working the front end and the shoulders more. So definitely changing the incline is changing up the muscles, but it's not working those stabilizing muscles, those lateral movements that you would get if your dog is out, walking from pavement to dirt to grass to a field, into a rocky area that's not completely flat. So you're not working those types of muscles in the same way that you would do outside. But you can change the treadmill up, changing the incline, and that will work muscles differently. And when you do add the incline, when you're adding it, that is more strength training also. And also when you are adding an incline, it's more challenging on the body. So if I'm jogging on the flat versus if I'm jogging on a hill, when you're jogging on a hill, it's putting more stress on the muscles, the soft tissues, the tendons, and the ligaments. So my advice is, if you're building up a program on treadmill or on land, get your fitness foundation first. Build up your cardio, build up, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, build up 3 miles, 4 miles, build it up for your foundations on relatively, kind of flat terrain. Then once your dog has that fitness foundation, then put the dog on an incline, a gradual incline. So it's like if you're not a runner and I say go out and start running those hills, you're setting yourself up for injury. So that's the same with the dogs. Just know that even just walking on an incline is stressing the body more than walking on the flat. So if your dog does not have that foundation, don't start throwing in hill work right away. Get your foundation first. So there's a lot of program considerations. We have entire, these Facebook live shows on building programs. And so we're not going to go into detail for all of that right now, but you do have to consider and be aware of how to build programs gradually. Now, electric versus dog powered, like slat mill. People tend to have their favorites. You have a whole community and they're, very much into the dog powered slat mill, those types of treadmills. And then you have the group that's, heavily into electric. There's pros and cons of each. They work the body differently. On the dog powered ones, you do have more of a pulling movement, some more of that strength from pulling. I personally, when I'm building out a fitness program, I'm looking at, say, if I'm looking at cardio, I like the electric treadmill because there's more controlled variables as far as controlling the incline, changing up the speed, the duration, and for documentation, to document the progression as I'm building and gaining fitness over time. I like the capabilities of being able to have all of those types of controls over building my fitness program. And I typically, when I look at treadmill use, I think of it, of course you can have strength training, but I look also heavily at thinking about the cardio side of it. I know that a lot of people will, a number of people will use a treadmill where they'll do, if you've seen videos where dogs are doing like sidestepping on the treadmill, or they're on a piece of equipment and they're just working the hind feet on the treadmill, and they're doing like different exercises on it. My personal opinion is, if you're going to be doing like some hind end strength training and lateral movements and going backwards and stuff like that for strength training and other exercises, I would rather do it on the ground or on exercise equipment. If you're doing it for strength training like that, I just feel that there's safer ways to do that. A lot of those exercises than using the treadmill in that way. And I know a lot of people, they like to use a treadmill in that way. They love using it in that way. But for me personally, if I'm going to be doing some different types of strength training, and I'm looking at building strength and power, there are other ways that I would rather do it than doing it on the treadmill like that. Even like resistance training, if I'm wanting to really, if I really want to build strength and muscle in my dog, yes, I can put it on an incline, but I personally would do something like resistance training where my dog has maybe you're doing some drag work, some weight pull. When my dog is pulling me in a harness and he's pulling and there's resistance going behind the dog, that kind of stuff, and focused targeted strength training on FitPulse equipment. Those are the types of things that I would prefer for targeted strength training, like shoulder exercises, hindquarter exercises, core exercises. The treadmill is not my first go-to place for that. That's just my personal opinion. The other thing here is gait considerations. So if I'm building up like aerobic capacity on the treadmill, so one of the gait considerations, if I'm going to be doing endurance building and I'm going to be spending 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour on the treadmill, the recommended gait is a trot. And if you're building aerobic capacity, a nice, steady, consistent trot, building up aerobic capacity over time, a minimum of 20 minutes or more is great for building up aerobic capacity. And why a trot is a gait where the legs are working on diagonals. So the back left leg is moving in unison with the front right leg. The front left is moving in unison with the back right. And it's a 2-beat gait. And what happens is when your dog is trotting, it's working both sides of the body equally. So if you have kind of like a gallop or like a canter, if you think of horses when they canter, that is like a 3-beat gait. So you have one leg that is kind of like the lead leg, then you have 2 diagonal legs moving together, and then you have a hind end, you have a 3rd beat there. So it's not working every leg equally. So if you're going to throw a dog on a treadmill, and if they're going to be like kind of cantering all along the way, it's not working all of the legs and both sides of the body equally. So if you're building up aerobic capacity and spending a lot of time on the treadmill, the trot is a more balanced gait for working the body equally. So that is one of the considerations. Another thing here is the age of the dog. So this is just common recommendations for canine fitness. If you're going to be doing structured fitness training, cardio training, a lot of repetitive, going out for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and that repetitive type activity, that you want to do, the typical recommendation is that you do that with a dog that is physically mature. Now, could you take a puppy and just get them used to get confident on a treadmill and just go and walk on it and walk off and just, keep it slow and just do little short bursts of activity to get them acclimated to it? Yes. But I'm not going to have a structured fitness program for a puppy and, just put my puppy on there and then, be running my puppy for, miles on a treadmill. I'm not going to do that until they're physically mature. Would I introduce a puppy if I have a treadmill and introduce it and get them comfortable with it and the noise and, the ground is moving underneath them? Yes, you could do that with a puppy. The other thing is, like I said, with Bachi, with his older age, and he's already has some mobility issues, tripping and he's fallen sometimes. With him, I would not want him on the treadmill unless I have my mobility harness and I'm right there. Like I said, I would want like one person there who could help control the speed. And I literally would want to be there with that harness so that if he trips, I can grab him and support him. And to me, at his age, it's too much of a risk. He's not been introduced to the treadmill. He's not familiar with it at his age now and his mobility issues. I'm not going to introduce it to him now at this stage in his life. You do, just that's with any kind of exercise, right? You have to modify it for the needs of the dog. So if you have a dog that has some unique considerations, you just have to weigh the pros and cons and look at the safety issues. And do you have a support system there if you do have a dog with special needs? But like I said, my choice with Bachi is I would work them and do laps. I have a really large basement, and if I can't get them outside to exercise, that might be something that I would do rather than putting them on the treadmill where it's just me trying to handle everything. Now, one thing I want to say about purchasing, purchase wisely, doing your research and really investing in a well-made treadmill is definitely going to be worth it. You might be able to find something out there that's cheap. You might feel like, hey, you got a really good deal on it, but you want something that's going to be, rock solid, well-structured, safe for your dog. And you want something that's going to withstand, the years and years of use and the repetitive use. Are any of you dog trainers that are thinking of doing this, like with clients? Because this is another thing to consider is, are you getting a treadmill just for your own personal dog and you might just use it a few times a week? Or are you getting a treadmill maybe working with client dogs? Are you getting a treadmill that's going to get a lot of use? If you're looking at getting a lot of a use or using it for years and getting a lot of use, the way I look at it, even for a human treadmill, is invest in like a professional grade treadmill. Have any of you gone to like a hotel where they have the treadmill in the hotel and they're like just crappy, cheap treadmills? Like when you get on a really cheap treadmill, like you can tell the quality of it. Or if you go to a nice gym with the high quality treadmills, you can totally tell the difference when you get on a cheap one. So I think it's worth the money to have one that's gonna, it's gonna be fluid in the movements, well made, it's gonna withstand the wear and tear over use. And most definitely, if you're looking at, years of use, or if you're gonna, you're gonna put a lot of use on it with a lot of different dogs and a lot of hours on it, I would say, pay the extra money and invest in something that is a high quality, like a professional grade type of treadmill. And that is something that I think over time it pays off. And like I said, even just the movement, when you get on a cheap treadmill, a human treadmill, the fluidness, the flow of it, the way it moves, you can totally feel it. It's different. And you work your body. It just, especially when you get on a bad one. The other thing is acclimating to treadmill use. Your dogs definitely need time to acclimate, and also don't expect fitness and conditioning in other areas to carry over and just instantly adapt over to the treadmill. So you want to think about sport-specific type of training. Your dog may be used to doing a lot of miles out off leash. Your dog may be doing all kinds of other types of fitness training. When you're on the treadmill, just treat it as a new fitness activity and just build it up gradually. Just because your dog has, great fitness going out, running around off leash, this is a new exercise that's working the muscles differently. You are going to need a period of transition. And I would say the biggest thing here is a lot of people rush way too quickly introducing the dog to the treadmill and go way too quickly to trotting and running their dog on a treadmill. You really want to make sure the dog is confident on it, associates it in a positive way, feels very balanced and very confident on the treadmill, because things can go downhill and go wrong very quickly if you don't have that solid foundation. So I would say go really, really slow, treating and rewarding the dog without it even moving. Have it moving in the room and the dog gets used to hearing it without even putting your dog on it. And I would say when I very first introduced Knox to it, we weren't doing anything crazy, but I would say I backtracked. I'm like, you know what? We're going to backtrack and we're going to just get on the treadmill and, I'm going to do some sit, stand, and just associate some positive stuff on it when it's not even moving. And then keeping sessions really, really short, keep them very positive, and please don't rush it. The other thing is, one thing that I noticed is, and when I was introducing it to my dogs, I was like, wow, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have full control over your dog, things can go wrong very quickly. You could end up with a dog getting injured. You could also end up with a dog that just associates the treadmill with very negative feelings. And so I would not recommend, like if I have a pet dog client, just saying, having them go and get a treadmill and do it on their own. I would say this is something, and even me, I've got a lot of years of experience, working dogs, training dogs, competing. But, I have people that have a lot of experience with the treadmill that, giving me some tips and recommendations and being mentored. So I would say if you've never done this and you don't have somebody, get a mentor, have somebody that guides you, a trainer or somebody who sells it to you to give you some tips and some guidance, because it's not as simple as just go and throw a dog on a treadmill. And I hear of so many people where the dogs, they don't like it. They've introduced it too quickly, and you don't want to force the dog to be on it, but just take it slow, keep it positive. Another thing is monitoring treadmill use. Please don't put your dog on a treadmill and leave the room, or put the dog on the treadmill and get distracted and go do other things. You really want to be there. You want to watch your dog for signs of distress, watch the breathing, expression, panting, general demeanor to know if you're overdoing it, if you need to slow it down, if you need to get your dog off the treadmill. You really need to be right there, be attentive to your dog and be monitoring it. It's not something you want to just leave unattended, because like I said, things can go downhill very quickly. Also, you want to make sure you're not overdoing it. You don't want to make sure your dog's not overheating. If you're training indoors to help cooling off, I would recommend you want some airflow to help keep your dog cool. Putting a fan, you know, right there in front, next to the dog, having a fan to have that airflow moving, because if you're training outdoors, you might have a nice breeze and you can have that airflow or cooler air to help cool the dog off. And if you're training indoors, you don't necessarily have that airflow going. And so think about also, you don't want to be overheating your dog on there. So a fan would be a nice thing to have. Then also only increase the intensity at incremental levels, changing one variable at a time. This is just good practice when you're building canine fitness programs, not just for the treadmill. So if you are, let's say, doing 20 minutes on the treadmill and it's on the flat, and you decide that you want to put it on an incline, you don't want to increase time and distance and incline all at the same time. So if you're going to run longer, then add distance, don't change the incline. If you're going to change the incline, add that, but maintain the same distance or back off. So you want to figure out, what is your emphasis? What do you want to emphasize? Do you want to work on distance? Do you want to work on speed? Do you want to add more incline? Pick a variable and change one variable at a time. Give your dog time to acclimate to that. It might be over a period of a few weeks before you start making more changes. And like I said, this is not just for the treadmill. This is just good practice and exercise science and building programs for your dog. The other thing I wanted to mention, so this is the dog runner treadmill, is the one that that I introduced Knox to, my younger dog. And I will say I was impressed with the very well made. It is a solid treadmill. It's really heavy. You want to get some help setting it up. It's a big, solid, sturdy piece of equipment. And I was impressed by the overall the make of the treadmill. Now this treadmill here, you can see that it has these bars where you can like attach and tie the dog, attach the dog if it has a harness on or something. I want my dog loose, or if my dog is attached to something like a line, I want to have control of that. So it does have attachments here where you can actually, you know, hook up your dog. I don't like to do that for, like I said, safety reasons, and also where my dogs are and they're confident and comfort level. I like to have it so it is just open, and I'm not like forcing my dog or tying my dog if something comes up or there's an emergency and I need to quickly get my dog off. Now, if you do happen to connect your dog or tie your dog up to this or connect a harness, please, please, please use an emergency release clasp. You just never know if something happens. You want a quick release, a quick emergency release. I grew up with horses and training horses, and yeah, things can go really bad if a dog, a horse, if you're tied up and you get twisted up or something happens. So like I said, I don't like to have my dog hooked up and attached and tied. If you do that, please have an emergency quick release. But this is the dog runner. Another thing is with the dog runner, it has the bars on the side, and it also has the back. I like to keep the back open. I don't like to have my dog contained and kind of like locked in there. Like I said, for safety reasons, I just don't feel comfortable with that. But you know, there are people that use them very successfully, never have an issue, but I tend to be maybe a little, I envision when I first put my dog on it for the first time, I could envision if you aren't training the dog and introducing it right. I was like, oh, what if a dog trips, or what if a dog slips, or what if this happens, or your dog decides he wants to get out and he starts spinning around and decides he wants to go backwards. These are all the things if you have a dog that's not trained and introduced to it properly. So like I said, if you're new to this, I would highly recommend hook up with a trainer, hook up with somebody who has experience in introducing the dogs and using the treadmills, and have somebody show you. It's not something, like I said, you're going to just go and throw a dog on and just experiment with. That's my opinion on introducing it. Then the other thing I wanted to mention here is this treadmill is imported from Europe. And Joseph, the owner of Maximum Canine Service, they sell them, and they've been really, really great. They actually have a 10% off on their own. They sell equipment, they have treadmills, they sell food and all different kinds of things. And I messaged Joseph today because he gives us the discounts for our Northeast Canine Conditioning, our clients and the people in our online programs. And I messaged him today and I said, hey, Joseph, can we share your discount with the general public? And he said, yes. So the coupon here, the code is NEK9 for Northeast Canine 10 for 10% off. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to put you in touch with him. He's got tons of experience in introducing all kinds of different dogs to treadmills. And like I said, they import them and bring them and sell them and can ship them anywhere. I know throughout the States. I'm not sure about Canada. I didn't think to ask him about that, but just make a note, NEK9 10 for 10% off. So that is a nice, thank you for Maximum Canine Service. Oh, Maximum Canine Service, their website is Maximum Canine Service. Let me just double check and make sure. MaximumCanineService.com. I didn't have the website on here, but you can see that the name of the business is right there. So just go to Maximum Canine. It's the letter K, the number 9 service.com. And Joseph has been amazing in supporting people with the treadmills. And also follow them on social media because he's got some tips and some recommendations and things when introducing dogs to treadmills. And I know they're going to be adding more educational information stuff for treadmill use and for people who are just getting started. So that is definitely a perk. So Bachi, I think he's sleeping now. Bach. He is totally, he's not even responding. I was going to see if he can come over before we finish up, but he's doing well. Thanks for asking. And then the last slide, I had one more slide here, is I just want to point out, knowing how to build in a treadmill, or cardio, or strength training fitness program into your regular training and exercise routine is really important. Knowing when to introduce new activity, when do you make it more difficult, when should you back down, how many days per week, how frequent, how long, how often. There's so many different things that are involved when you're building a canine fitness program and doing it safely. And if you're interested in knowing more, I actually have a link here. Let me see if I can pop this link up. We have the Elite Canine Athlete Program. It is an online program, a canine fitness program that can lead to becoming a certified canine athlete specialist. This is our most comprehensive program. We go into depth and great detail in program design. We put emphasis on the sport and working dog. Of course, this knowledge can carry over to pet dogs. We have a lot of dog trainers in the program. We have veterinarians who have done the program, vet techs, canine massage therapists. We have dog groomers in the program. But if you do have a passion for canine fitness and you have an interest specifically in sport and working dogs, and you really want to know this in depth and feel confident whenever you're assessing a dog's needs and how to actually put those programs together for cardio, for strength, for flexibility, body awareness, sports-specific training, work-specific training, please visit. It is elitecanineathlete.com, and you can download the brochure. I have that right here. elitecanineathlete.com. It's the letter K, the number 9. You can download the brochure, and then there's a link for an application. And what I do is I meet with people and talk about what your interests and your goals are, your short-term and long-term goals, to see if this is the best program for you. But we do have other canine fitness programs, not just this one, but this is our most comprehensive program. If you're, really want to learn this and feel confident in building programs, not just for your own dogs, but understanding different breeds and different sports and different activities. We cover all of that. So that link should have popped up. So sorry about the audio problems at the beginning, but I'm glad we got it worked out. I'll probably go and edit that and then repost the video. But if you have any questions, please keep me posted and reach out. Feel free to message me on Facebook, email. We are here every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Northeast Canine Conditioning Facebook business page. And also, usually we talk about canine fitness topics, but we also, the second Friday of the month, We also do a tech tutorial for those business owners out there and dog trainers on how to use technology to maximize work efficiency and building more value into your programs, and also helping and supporting and marketing and getting people more aware of your products and services online. And like I said, we usually do that the second Friday of the month, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Northeast Canine Conditioning Facebook business page. So if you have any questions, like I said, you can download the brochure and feel free to reach out. Becky, you said you missed the first part of the talk. What treadmill? Yep, let me pull that up. I'll show you again. The one that this is the dog runner. And if you missed it, let me just repeat again. This is the dog runner. And if you're interested, Maximum Canine Service, it's the letter K, the number 9, MaximumCanineService.com. Joseph is the owner of the company. They do sell them. They are imported from Europe. And if you purchase treadmill or any other things through their site, he did want to share with us a 10% discount. So it's NEK9 for Northeast Canine 10 for 10% off. So thank you, Joseph, for sharing that with us. So it is the dog runner. Oh, Kelly, you said you train with Joe awesome. I didn't know that. So yeah, so definitely if you have any questions, reach out, especially about the treadmills, feel free to reach out to Joseph too. I'm not sure, Becky, you were asking, they have different models, right? Different models and styles, and they do have the ortho. I'm not sure. I think so, but I'm not sure. But I tell you, Joseph, and the website has their phone number too. And he's also, you can message them through Facebook. But Joseph would most definitely at Maximum Canine Service would be the one to talk to, because, and I think they even have a new model that's going to be coming out, but he can definitely answer questions. When we're done going live, I'll tag him in here so that you'll be able to reach directly out to him on Facebook. But he's familiar with all the different treadmills they offer. There are different models and different styles of treadmills, and he can tell you the differences between them. So I'm not even going to pretend to know the difference. But yeah, I highly encourage you to check them out. Like I said, the one that I have, I'm super impressed with just the durability, and it's well made. So Becky said, thinking of how to handle your, oh yeah, when in California we get all the smoke and you can't exercise outside. And then Kelly, you said you had bought the dog pacer and you can't compare to the dog runner. Yeah, I've seen the dog pacer. I've not actually used it, but like I said, I think of the model that I have, like the dog runner that I have, when I think of like a professional quality type treadmill, when I think of like human treadmills, like the cheapy ones in the cheap hotels versus the professional grade ones that you go to, like, you know, Planet Fitness and the big health centers, I think of the dog runner as like more of that professional grade. It's definitely a different quality from some of the other ones that are out there. And, you know, there is a price difference in some of these. There are definitely treadmills that are out there that are, you know, cheaper. There's a range of prices, but like I said, if you just compare when you get on a human treadmill, when you're on a cheap one, and you get on a nice one, I will not run on a cheap human treadmill. When you go to some of those hotels that have the real cheapy one in there, like I won't use that. You can just, so, you know, they're smaller, they're wobbly, it doesn't move right. And when you compare it to professional, it's like night and day. And when I think of the dog runner one, like the one that I have, to me, it just gives that sense of that nice quality that you have, something that could withstand a lot of wear and tear. I haven't had it for a long time, so I can't say from personal experience, but just the build of it, is the durability of it. I've been impressed so far with that. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Becky said cheap treadmills hurt your knees. I won't stay on them long enough to find out. I could see that. Yeah. Cheap treadmills hurting your knees. Oh, another thing that recommendation that I know, what a lot of people do that I know who have some of these treadmills, and I do it too, is I put a mat. I don't have my treadmill on the concrete. I have, and it's like human treadmills. You get oh my gosh, what is the store? Tractor Supply store. Tractor Supply has they're horse stall mats. I was reaching out on, I'm a human personal trainer. I'm certified in personal training, and I was on a big online forum, and I was asking them about purchasing really nice mats to do like a home gym with equipment. And everybody was saying, go to Tractor Supply store. And the horse mats, the Tractor Supply has really nice mats. Get the thicker ones, and they're reasonably priced. So I would recommend, if you're going to invest in a nice treadmill, go to a place like Tractor Supply and get a really nice mat and put it on that nice and get some cushioning. They have different thicknesses, and you can also go to some of the different sports fitness stores that sell the real nice cushiony mats. And you actually, my dogs would just be trotting on it if you're going to do some more high impact stuff. And if you're concerned about it, they also have athletic mats for exercise that are even thicker and designed for more high impact activities for the bouncing and stuff. So I would recommend, like I said, you can get some nice mats. They're not that expensive. And I would totally recommend getting a nice cushion type of mat like that to put the treadmill on. Oh, Becky used one from the CrossFit. Yeah. So there's a lot of ones to choose from, but I've had many people, if you actually go to Tractor Supply and look at the little testimonials, like the people who rate the different mats, and when you go to their thicker mat, at least here I was, the Tractor Supply store here, I was on the website, and almost all the reviews were from fitness people, like the home gyms and weight training and things like that. And it wasn't actually people reporting about using them with their horses. It was a lot of fitness equipment being used on the mats. So so thanks for asking about that. Becky, you totally made me think about the mats, which I hadn't mentioned. So thanks. So any other questions? Good stuff, good stuff. I will keep you posted. Like I said, we haven't had the treadmill for long. I will say that it is taking the acclimation and the slow introduction. And my dog's confident. He doesn't have environmental issues, but just building the confidence and the balance and the fluid movement. I'm definitely taking it really slow. So it's taking even more so than what I would have thought. Like I said, just take it slow, introducing it. Don't jump quickly to trotting on it. Don't jump quickly to going fast. Keep real short sessions, keep it positive, and take your time. Don't rush it. So many times we rush things too much. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm not sure what the topic will be next week, but if you want to see more of these videos and some of the replays, if you go to the Northeast Canine Conditioning Facebook business page and click on videos, and we've got over 200 shows. We have a playlist for some of my favorites for fitness videos. And we also have a playlist for some of our business related videos. So check them out if you haven't already. And again, if you want to know more about our programs, our online program, getting certified and get more confident and get the knowledge and expertise in building fitness programs for your dogs, check out the Elite Canine Athlete Program. And that's elitecanineathlete.com, the letter K, the number 9. So thanks so much. Have a great rest of the week, and I will hopefully see you next Friday. Bye-bye for now.